In Iraq today, at least 4 people were killed, 19 wounded in and around Baghdad as the country is now slipping closer towards sectarian war. One man who is not surprised by this spike in violence, well, he's the former interim Prime Minister, Allawi. In an interview with CNN, he took aim at his successor, Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki. Here's what he told my co-anchor, Michael Holmes.
Fortunately, what happened in Syria now is supporting this, and unfortunately the country is moving on a sectarian route now, which was very dangerous to start with in the very beginning. And I warned all the leaders in the world and the region that unless this is averted, then Iraq really is on the, has started a civil war, but hasn't reached the point of no return. Once it reaches the point of no return, then unfortunately the whole region will burn up.
Our Michael Holmes is joining us from Baghdad. Michael, good to see you as always. A couple of questions I have for you. First of all, why did he want to talk to you? Why did he agree that he would come forward and speak with you now? And does he think anything different should happen when it comes to the U.S. role and it should play in that country?
Yeah, well, I guess he spoke to us because he's a politician, Suze. He's an opposition politician. He actually technically won the 2010 election by 2 seats, but because of a lot of political manoeuvring and what have you, it was Nouri al-Maliki who retained power. He is a Shia. He is a very, very much a secular man. He doesn't like all of this sectarian stuff. He's highly critical of Nouri al-Maliki. He calls him an authoritarian, a one-man band who's sort of consolidating power around himself. When it comes to the US, we talked about that a lot, and it's not the first conversation we've had. You know, when the US first got here, there was a lot of criticism that they got here to Baghdad, and I was up the day after the statue was pulled down in Firdos Square just behind me, and there was a sense that the US didn't know what to do next. Fast forward to now, what he's saying about the US is they backed al-Maliki, which he says is fine. They have not put enough pressure on him to rein in this sectarianism, to be more inclusive, what he promised to be. Here's part of what he said about the US.
They should support Maliki, it's up to them. But they should also clarify to Maliki that their support is conditional on inclusivity of the political process and respecting the Constitution and respecting human rights. But unfortunately, the Americans are not doing this.
And he's a very worried man, you know, and I've had that sense since coming back this time too. He's very worried that this could slip down that road to all-out sectarian war. He says at the moment it's an asymmetrical war with the car bombings, the assassinations and the like. He said it wouldn't take much for it to become a symmetrical war, that is armed rebellion, if you like, by the Sunnis in this country, and that would be a disaster for the region and the country.
Inclusivity, power sharing, reconciliation was the promise of this government.
Yes.
It hasn't happened.
No.
Why?
They don't want to do it. They are moving towards a kind of an authoritarian regime in this country.
Why do you think Mr. al-Maliki has not pursued power sharing reconciliation? Why do you think he is alienating Sunnis?
He doesn't believe in power sharing. He doesn't believe in reconciliation. He said it many times. He knows that very well, that reconciliation will bring about radicalized democracy in this country. And it seems he doesn't want. He's not a Democrat.
What could be the result of that?
The result of that is breaking the country up, breaking the society up, allowing forces of extreme to flourish and develop, and this is what we have seen. Unfortunately, the country is moving on a sectarian route now, which was very dangerous to start with in the very beginning. And I warned all the leaders in the world and the region that unless this is averted, then Iraq really is on the, has started a civil war, but hasn't reached the point of no return. Once it reaches the point of no return, then unfortunately the whole region will burn up.
What would it take to turn things around? Do you think that the government has the appetite to bring in the Sunnis?
This government?
Yeah.
No. The irony really is to fight Al-Qaeda in Anbar, you have to have a platform of national unity in Anbar, not a platform of discrimination and a platform where you don't listen to demonstrators for a year. Peaceful demonstrators. We should refrain from saying the Sunnis now are harboring Al-Qaeda. This is really a clear, naked attempt to push the Sunnis to the extreme. And this is not in the interest of Iraq, not in the interest of the region, nor in the interest of the international community.
The US, of course, has been blamed for making many mistakes, pretty much from the moment they got to Baghdad. Do you think they make mistakes now by supporting Mr. al-Maliki in the way they do?
They are doing a very huge mistake. They should support Maliki, it's up to them. But they should also clarify to Maliki that their support is conditional on inclusivity of the political process and respecting the Constitution and respecting human rights. But unfortunately, the Americans are not doing this.
They've pushed that line. And
I don't know. I really don't know whether they are pushing it or not, frankly speaking. But I believe that they may pay lip service and say, but they don't use any other pressures that they have as friends of Mr. Maliki.
What do you believe is the extent of Iranian influence in this country?
Well, that's very wide and very open and very deep. It's becoming deeper. It has been very clear that Iran is trying to have its policies dictated here, that there are tangible evidence of the involvement of Iran in supporting militias and giving arms to militias and giving money and so on.
You say that it's not too late, but the point of no return is foreseeable. What is that turning point?
You know, the civil war is, there are two kinds of civil war. There is the symmetrical and asymmetrical, like any war. What we have now in asymmetrical, once this asymmetrical transfers and get transformed into a symmetrical war, when open rebellion, armed rebellion, then this is the point of no return to me.